Hello, everybody. We are back once again for this post-stage 2
You can have one
edition
house in every region. Oh, sorry, really?
of Around the Hoot. Welcome as we talk about Skyrim and how you can have one region, apparently.
You can indeed. 2 of them you have to make, though. Or no, 3 of them you have to make yourself.
You heard it here first, folks.
It's like Minecraft, but like not at all like Minecraft.
You can make a house. But as always, I'm your host, Wyatt, and we've got Travis, Noah, and Christiaan here. Once again, to break down everything from stage 2 and then get a little sneak peek into stage 3. So before we get into, before we even look at last weekend, we have a couple news updates to deal with. First off, happy birthday, Super. Today is his 18th birthday. He is now ready to go for the Overwatch League. So shout out to his parents for having him at the perfect time, because now the Shock can get some perfect time. So now you can have some reinforcements for stage 3. So that's cool. And then we've got Overwatch World Cup was announced this week. We were kind of wondering. I mean, we figured that it'd probably be around, since that's gonna be what kind of gets people through the off season. And it'll be a good way for people to kind of get some exposure if you're not on an Overwatch League team. So that's cool. That's going to be happening. I believe all of the preliminary stuff runs through August, and then August through October are the group stages, and then the finals happen at BlizzCon as always. So that's going to be fun. It'll be a way for people to kind of country affiliations / get their fix in the off season for Overwatch, because it's going to be a long time. We're going to have from July to January with no Overwatch. So
we'll talk about our fantasy national teams too.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll have plenty to dive into once we get there, and plus it'll be a good. We'll get to see Flower again. We'll get to see those players that are not.
Maybe.
You don't think he's going to play for the team?
I think there are many Koreans who have made a strong case for themselves who were left off on the team.
So there's your sneak peek. So we'll argue about whether or not Flower that once we get a little bit closer. So
Team Korea will win. That is the prediction. I'm making it right the fuck now.
Basically.
Clip that. Korea will win the World Cup.
And then in some other news that we've got, speaking of Flower is going to finally making his way to the New York Academy. He wasn't yet officially on the roster, so there were some questions about whether or not what the status of him was, but we've now gotten confirmation that he is on NYXL2, which is their cute little moniker over there. So Good for him. He'll be able to help that team and just get some more experience as he nears closer to his 18th birthday, which isn't for a while, so we won't see him until season 2, but we'll be able to see plenty of him in Overwatch Contenders. Also, check out the site. Noah wrote a cool article on why you should be watching Overwatch Contenders.
I didn't even mention Flower, because
he didn't. No, exactly. So,
but also Flower's there, so that's reason 6.
There you go. So we got 5 good reasons, and then Flower. And then other news: we got Creed to the Shanghai Dynasty as an assistant coach. That should be pretty big, especially with them with this edition with Giguri and Ado and Fearless. Finally getting on the roster. We saw Ado and Fearless last week, looked pretty good. And then Giguri is also, she was in America last week, but she wasn't ready to play yet. But you can bet that she'll be there next week. So with those 4 additions, that should be enough, hopefully, to give this team some semblance of hope, and they should be able to maybe win their first game sometime soon.
I'm excited to see what they look like with a competent coaching staff.
Exactly, yeah. That's been a huge problem for them. I think they just don't really have.
Like, I don't think a problem has ever necessarily been just their players.
Exactly.
Do they have the best players? Yeah, but without good coaching, like, you saw what coaching did for the Florida Mayhem and how it turned that team around.
Yeah, like I think, especially with the way Overwatch is right now, like you just have to have somebody telling you what to do. Like you said, it's not enough to have good players. We actually need to have some
big aim. You need big aim, but you also need big brain.
Exactly. So good for them. And then we've got Void coming from Kongdu Panthera to the Gladiators. So Gladiators again with another pickup. Their last one worked out pretty well for them. So we'll see what Void does in stage 3. maybe he'll be there for stage 3. I don't know, because he's coming from Korea, right? So he might run into the same visa issues that we've seen in the past. It took the Shanghai trio an entire stage to get to America. So
I think that's unlikely, just because we've seen that the teams that are so Shanghai is the only non-US owned team.
That's true. That's true.
Overwatch League, and we've seen the US teams are a little faster at getting their players over here. Plus, for the millionth time, I'll point out that the organization is owned by the Crunky Sports Group, and so of all of the teams,
are they? I had no idea.
Right?
People at home, look at your Travis bingo sheet and cross out Crunky mention.
Still waiting for XQC in Dallas, but we'll get there in time.
Yeah, short minute,
we already
10 minutes
passed, World Cup, so no mention of him.
Did you know he's the T-Mobile MVP for 2017 World Cup? He got rocked by South Korea in finals. Who's the MVP for this match? XQC 70%. It was like, wow.
But yeah, I don't think that a professional, somebody who does this for a living, is going to be held up like a foreign sport.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got those.
Christian, what the hell was that?
I thought Travis cut out there. I heard him cut out for like a good minute there. And then I just hear Noah go, okay. I was very confused.
Your face was perfect. You looked just like shocked. Okay, sorry. Christian has funny. Y'all should be watching these podcasts because Christian has funny facial expressions.
You say that as though there's an audio version of this.
I like to pretend. I mean,
it only exists
force
in
of
video
habit.
form.
It's a force of habit, Wyatt.
People like to watch us on YouTube Red, and they turn off the screen and they listen to us.
Hell yeah, that's what I do.
That's true. That's a thing that could happen.
It's what I pretend to do for the sake of that example.
All right, so before we get into our rumors and our buy and sell new stuff here on the show, just looking back at last weekend, things kind of unfolded about how we thought they would. Sort of. I mean,
not all of us thought that.
I'll just say this: I didn't think Fusion would get into the top 3 at all, and I did not think they would be chasing off New York in the finals.
I didn't think they were a map away from 3-0 sweeping the Excelsior too.
Yeah, they were.
I meant everything leading up to the playoffs, not the playoffs.
Leading up to the playoffs, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think the regular season kind of ended about how,
yes,
Fusion starting off well. Once we hit the playoffs, though, things definitely did not go how I think 90% of the world thought they would.
A little closer to the playoffs, like Boston stomping the Gladiators. That was
on the first map. On just the first map, the one map they needed to get into the playoffs, it was really
hilarious.
Weird.
Like literally, they just needed to not drop them. And what did the Gladiators immediately drop a map?
Hey, to be fair, Volskaya, I don't think Boston had a good matchup on Volskaya, which is pretty unfortunate. Or no, I don't think Gladiators had a good matchup on Volskaya. Because they had to play Surefour. Sure throw.
Yeah, and also it was very funny too because me, Noah, and Travis were in the arena for Sunday. It was very funny. All the Fusion players were in the stands during that match.
They entered halfway through map 1, and then map 1 ended, and it's like, oh,
they immediately cheered, and then they left. they all were like, yeah, there we go. Before game 2 started, they were gone.
Yeah. And they went back and had some food. Do you guys follow the Fusion chef?
No.
I don't know. Should I follow him?
Yeah, it's awesome. You get to see some awesome quality food made for esports. It's just food. So if you like,
I'm so excited. Let me go follow them right now.
I listen. They made some dank breakfast burritos the other day, and I was like, "Woo!"
All they would do is make me hungry. So
yeah, exactly. That's why that's the good stuff right there.
So that happened, and by virtue of Gladiators losing that single match, that pushed the the Fusion into the playoffs, where they made a hell of a case for the best Western team. and I think you have to say they have performed the best out of all the Western teams thus far, just based on results. Because before, the only other team that had gotten that far was the Outlaws, and they lost to the Spitfire in the first round of the Stage 1 playoffs.
Yep. But
this time around, London made it close. You know, I'll give you that, but it was a 3-2. It wasn't easy by any means, but the Fusion, they played their asses off in that series, all through Sunday. Because not only did they beat London 3-2, they almost swept the Excelsior.
Then New York woke up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
New York woke up. Sabiola woke up. Libero, like everybody finally got their shit together. But like,
New York looked really bad on those first two maps.
I never lost faith. I never lost faith.
He didn't. I'll give him that. He was singing Excelsior's praises the entire time.
Travis's face. That's exactly what he was like live. He was popping off for the Fusion, and then the last 3 maps.
Stern face.
Disappointed face.
But still, I think the Fusion kind of put all the other Western teams on notice with the way they played on Sunday, because I think a lot of people were still doubting them, even all throughout Stage 2, because they looked really strong all throughout Stage 2. But I think for the most part, they looked very strong.
They look so great. Now that because Carpe and Shatterburn basically have the same playstyle, but they can't both do it at the same time. But EQO is a monkey who's just like, whatever, I'm going.
EQO played everything. I think he played almost every role except for a support throughout the course of that series, because he played Diva, he played
he played Diva, so Oko could Zarya.
Yeah, he played Roadhog. Like
in triple tank comps, he played Genji, he played some Pharah, he played some Widow.
And like, he doesn't just play them; he can play them well.
Maybe not the Tracer so much, or the Widow.
Yeah,
I'd still take Carpe.
No, yeah, but I think on every other role.
Sorry, I was interrupting you. Yeah.
I think Snillo too. I think he deserves mention because his play was very good. I think
he frees up Carpe to play other hit scan heroes, which is like what. So basically, it's like and Snillo's a great Tracer player. Well, basically, it just comes down to like, what do you need on the map? You need double hit scan. Put Snillo in, he'll pop up. Like on Hollywood, I love Snillo on Hollywood. Such a good adaptation.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's very, very good for the Fusion to kind of show this. We'll see if they can keep it up in Stage 2, but we can kind of get a little more deeper into that kind of forward thinking once we look at our individual pre-Stage 3 rankings later on in the show. But so with that, we've got a couple of rumors to talk about. Travis, you want to run us through what's going on? I know you're very to the Overwatch rumor scene.
I love rumors. I live for rumors. Just because it allows you to speculate wildly about what could happen. Just like with the NFL, like Drew Brees isn't leaving New Orleans. Yeah, but what if he did? Like,
Yeah.
So the Valiant have been talking to the Fuel. That has definitely been confirmed that they have been talking to the Fuel about trading some players. We know some names, but a lot of what people have been saying is that the Valiant are looking to shop their French players and replace them with maybe some Koreans to create a bit more synergy with the tank line.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And so they could be shopping soon and and then we'll talk a little bit more about the situation.
It's because their coach is Korean. And coach is Korean. And he just wants to surround himself with Koreans. That's a cynical approach, but I mean,
it just makes me sad how the Valiant they've.
What the hell? Your boys.
They at this point, as far as their managerial structure and just the way the team as a whole is looking, they're not that much better than the Fuel. They have
wow.
Ouch.
I mean, just from what we've heard, from the stuff that we've seen on the reality, the team just looks to be in complete turmoil. which is bad. Like
the fact that they've been in that stupid reality show more than any other team just kind of tells you that this, like, it's not the purple guys that are the Lakers this time around. These are the people who are like, yeah, we're gonna be stars.
Do you think
Yeah.
that's like the players' choices or the management choices?
What? No, they have no choice. Blizzard says you're doing this, and their contract says, yeah, you are.
Oh, well,
Who's the Jake Paul of the Overwatch League?
that's-
XQC.
yeah.
He's not in
Or
the
not.
Overwatch League anymore.
Okay, no, he got banned. Logan Paul's unbanned, right? He's the one who's not banned.
No, none of them are banned from YouTube. They've demonetized, which doesn't matter to them, but whatever.
I mean, I'm sure it does. I'm sure they'd like money.
I mean,
They like money, but they make money off of like clothing lines. and
I was
stuff.
saying they get
We're
paid
getting,
for
we're
it.
getting a little off that.
I was gonna say from the sound of it, it's like all of them, because I think it was, oh yeah, it was Monte Cristo. We were talking about when he was talking to Kevin in the press room, talking about XQC being like, all of the guys do this, and they're kind of like baiting him because he doesn't know when to stop.
No.
Ooh. Yeah, but the Valiant, it sucks. Because like I hitched my horse to that wagon, out the gate. I was like, fuck the
You could have
Gladiators.
gone with a good LA team.
I could have. I was at a crossroads. I was like, okay.
Well, like
But the
Valley
Gladiators.
was at first was the thing in stage one. They almost got into the playoffs.
Yeah, sure.
And Gladiators were the garbage team. And
Yeah,
now
I think
it's,
yeah, I
like,
think
flipped
the Valiant
over in
were,
like
I
just
think they
2
were
weeks.
fourth or fifth at the first stage.
They
Well, I'll
were
say
fourth.
this: the teams that are owned by the sports owners and not the endemic esports orgs are doing better than the other.
Yeah.
Like the only team that's doing well that's owned by an endemic org is London. And that's because Cloud9 bought the 2 best Korean teams available on the fucking market, which is kind of cheating.
Yeah, and then also
I mean,
Cloud9
who
has
knew the
organization
structure
size
would matter when
disaster.
it comes to esports?
Right? It's a wake up call. It's a wake up call. It's like, oh shit, we can't just make this shit up anymore. Fuck. And now we're seeing it live in action.
Yep.
Along with that rumor, because they're talking to Dallas about trading players, people are thinking that Dallas, now that Kai is in complete control, or so it seems, is thinking about like a full rebuild of just kind of trying to find a new starting lineup and kind of wipe the slate clean, get rid of players that they don't need, or that Kai didn't want.
They ain't that, honestly. I don't think it's the players' fault, but like I think everybody in the team is just kind of lost faith. So you kind of need fresh blood to liven up the team.
Yep. They need something.
Yeah, they definitely need a lot.
Full reset though. I don't know about that. You have a lot of really good pieces on that team.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, that's my only concern. I'm like, who do you guys drop first of all?
well, here's the thing. It's kind of like the 2009 Philadelphia Eagles looked really good on paper, the dream team. But that team was a disaster.
Yeah, that team was pretty bad.
This isn't a dream team though. Like
Sure, but
this is
it's kind
just
of
a workable
it's
team.
like, the point is you're like, oh yeah, you've got all these good pieces. It's like, okay, but those good pieces aren't worth anything unless they can work together and achieve results. And so far, we haven't seen any results.
They have never been put in a good position. I think for people who you're looking to drop whose fault it is, like their own personal problems, right?
It doesn't necessarily have to be personal problems, but I mean, like,
Just like
leading
Not
into
personal.
that, they're
It's
saying-
their personal, like it's not because of their situation they found themselves in, but because they're not at the level they need to be. When I say
Yeah.
personal problems,
Sure.
right? Harry Hook has not been playing well. I think you'll have to take a good look at him. Coco's gone. I have no idea what's happening there, but like he counts towards your player cap. So if you're not doing anything with him, get rid of him.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like commit, and then you can commit to picking up another full-time tank like OGE, or you can have another sub. I've been thoroughly unimpressed with Mickey though so far. Right? And it's important to have a diva player, but like Mickey's been the weakest off tank in the league for a hot minute. Siegel looks not bad. And but regardless, you need a new off tank. And I think you cut Mickey because Siegel has potential to grow, whereas you know what Mickey's ceiling is. And it's not great. And Mickey is the emotional core of that team, but like whatever. And then finally, I would cut Taimu. This team needs to move on from the Teemo era. I think Teemo, he's a legend. He sometimes decides he can't play. Sometimes he doesn't do anything. Sometimes he just feeds. Sometimes he's like, I'm playing tank now, and he fucking sucks. Sometimes Taimu does literally nothing for your squad. Sometimes Taimu just calls people gay slurs on stream. And there's nothing you can do about it. And he's not even the best at his position on that team. I don't think it's worth it to keep him anymore. Either him or AKM get the cut. And I thought, well, I had to think about this one, but I think you keep AKM just because AKM with good coaching staff can grow as a player, whereas Taimu needs to be freed from this team. Because we've seen Taimu with this coaching staff, we've seen Taimu with these people for a while, and Taimu needs to be freed. He needs to go somewhere else, and if he wants to continue his career, because on Dallas it's over basically.
I mean, I can see them jettisoning a lot of DPS players just because, you know, in recent weeks we've seen that it's possible that Rascal is causing internal issues for the team, refusing to play in certain scenarios.
I don't think it's Rascal went. Did you see Rascal's explanation stream?
No.
He went on and talked about like, okay, I said he basically is like, I never said I can't play certain maps. I just said I don't like playing this map. Like I don't like playing Volskaya. And he's like, oh, he can't play Volskaya. Shit. And then he's like, no, you fucks. And like Rascal he fully outlined everything, and he said his main problem is like we need to act like professionals. And it's like we just got trashed, and like everybody's like, hey, let's go out to eat. And Rascal's like, let's look at how we got trashed and not have that happen again, please. I've been following Rascal for a while. Rascal is not a problem on any team. He's a leader, if anything. And he's something that I think Dallas needs.
I kind of agree with you that I think the supports really need. It's the tank and the supports that really need to be changed on that team. I don't really see a problem with much anyone else.
You can cut every tank and every support on that team, and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But like I look at Harry, but like I know Chips has such an incredible ceiling. You know.
Yeah.
Chips can play everything. His Ana was legendary back in the day.
Too bad she's not like a great hero anymore.
Yeah.
Lucio.
And he was a workable Zen when he wasn't getting picked, but that wasn't even his fault because he never had a front line.
Oh yeah.
It was like we can jump on Chips and nothing will happen to us. We can just do it. So Chips just left out to dry. Custa, I think, is a good influence on this team, but like if OGE, who the tank was coming in, is a shot caller, his presence is less necessary.
So does anyone know who Dallas is talking to about treating players, or if they're just buying new players?
We said
or what's
that
going
earlier.
on?
They're talking to the Los Angeles Valiant.
Yeah, they're gonna do a swap.
Okay.
For who though?
So all right, let's go ahead and move into buy or sell then.
Okay.
So yeah, we got new segment. We're trying to actually do some shit, and kind of sitting around and just shooting the breeze. We're gonna try to get some structure. We got segments. So we got buy or sell. So Travis, take us into the first one. Let's see what are we looking at?
All right, so the rumor is, or actually not even a rumor, it's been confirmed, I believe, by at least one team. So buy or sell, Dallas trading Custa to the Los Angeles Valiant for Unco.
Ooh, I'll buy it. I like that a lot. I think it solves problems for both teams. I think if you're the Valiant, Custa is a good shot caller. He's a good in-game leader. He's a solid hand. He can play basically anything. So you can free up your second support slot, whether you continue to run Kariv in that spot or you run Verbo. Custa can fill the void. On Dallas's side, Unco is a god tier Zenyatta. And Zenyatta is their weakest position in terms of the support roster. And unfortunately, it's the number one support in the meta right now. That's why Chips has been on it. But if you can put Chips on Flex, Chips, and then you can sub in Harry Hook for Lucio sometimes, maybe, if he feels like playing. Or if he's like not sick, I have no idea what's going on there. but like you can free up Zenyatta Ana comps or Zenyatta Moira comps, which and Chips is I think the best main healer in the game. But in the current state of the meta, your best healer needs to be on Zenyatta, or your best support player needs to be on Zenyatta. Not only that, but there's natural synergy with AKM. And Unko is an aggressive player. He might be able to synergize well with Effect and Rascal, which is, I think, the most important part, because that's the two who you want to build this team around. So, I buy it.
I also buy pretty much for the same reasons. I immediately recognize the ability to synergize with AKM, especially if he's a DPS that they're going to keep. That's definitely something that I would like to see. Plus, I think that the DPS that they would trend towards instead of away from, like Rascal, and moving into, possible tank trades, I think that one opens them up a lot in terms of what you can do with, are you going to bring in a free agent? Are you going to trade somebody? But I think it also likens it, or it opens up the ability to be aggressive, kind of playing off of what Noah said of Unko is definitely an aggressive player, and I think that would suit AKM and Rascal, Effect, all of those DPS players that Dallas is likely going to keep.
I don't know if AKM is necessarily benefited from having aggressive Zenyatta rather than a passive Zenyatta, but like everything else, yeah.
This seems pretty much like a buy. I'm just kind of curious, like who it benefits more though. I kind of off the bat, I feel like it benefits Valiant more because I just feel like Fuel is a bit more. Not that they did with it, but it just kind of. I think there's a lot more problems with the support than just like changing out a player.
Sure, Fuel has more problems than one support's going to solve. It's definitely, I think, for me personally, I think that Dallas gets the better end of the deal, but Valiant gets the more immediate upgrade. And Valiant is a team that is better suited to receive that immediate upgrade, just like the Gladiators were with Fissure. They had all kinds of pieces in place. They bring in one-star player, and it elevates them to a much higher level than they were playing at. We've seen that this stage that the Valiant have had trouble trying to figure out who they are, and one of the places that they've been really weird is support and DPS, flipping Kareev back and forth. And by bringing in somebody like Custa, I think they can it gives them more room to maneuver players around, but solidify that support lineup so that one of the most important parts of your team isn't just like, oh, who knows who's playing today?
We'll just decide as we go. But yeah, that's a good way of putting it. This is a more immediate upgrade. It might be it's a step in the right direction for Dallas. Let me put it that way. And it's just kind of but yeah, I'm kind of rambling now.
A bit, yeah, but it's fine.
So yeah, I think especially because, like you said, if you bring in somebody who is a solid support, not that Unko's not a solid support, but I think if you bring in somebody like Custa, even if you want to leave, if you're gonna have Kareev continue to do this whole DPS thing, you can leave him as DPS and you don't have to flip him back and forth. Like if it's gonna be,
Custa can play everything.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, like that just frees up the rest of your roster to continue doing this weird shit. Because like now, if you use Kareev, then you're kind of at a little bit of a disadvantage on your actual support core. But if you have somebody like Custa, that just gives you more versatility. And especially since we've heard Silk Thread says he doesn't think he's going to be playing for the Valiant anymore. He said he doesn't think he's ever going to play for the team. So like having somebody else that you can, if you want to just leave Kareev as just DPS all the time, and then you got a solid, support. So
fucking Valiant, man.
Yeah, this team is such Jesus.
Top 2 dumpster fire for sure. You're not even the best dumpster fire, Wyatt. Like that's how bad this is. You're not even number 1 at being number last.
We can't even take the mantle as best.
Yeah,
we're not even the best at sucking.
We're just like shit.
We're just fucking mediocre.
It's not like Shanghai is so bad that it's kind of funny. You guys, but like the Valiant is bad, and it's not.
Yeah, like Valiant's the type of bad that you're just like.
Yeah, you guys are the Miami Dolphins or the New York Jets. You're perennially bad, but you're never the worst.
Ugh. Oh man!
Shout out to the guy who just messaged me on Discord saying, "Bro, you were right. Holding W is the best strat." Somebody asked me for advice and I said hold W. That's a free advice for our listeners. Hold W.
Yep.
What was it? Hold W and press Q.
Hold W, press left, fire your guns, and press Q sometimes when you got it.
Okay, so buy or sell. The Los Angeles Gladiators, we know, have been shopping iRemix's contract. It's been rumored for a long time, but now they're possibly shopping Bishu with the addition of Void.
Void?
Yeah, with
Yeah,
the addition of Void.
Void. Did I cut out?
Yeah, just for a second there.
It just looked like you stopped talking. It's like, what? What do y'all want to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll buy just because I mean I'm a huge dissenter of teams keeping highly talented starting caliber players and just hoarding them on the bench. If you do this in fantasy football, we can never be friends.
This is real life.
I don't like it when NFL or NBA teams do this either. Like, I don't like to see starting caliber players on the bench. And I think Bishu is a starting caliber off tank, especially with how many terrible off tanks we've seen in the Overwatch League. And the place that I would send him is, if I'm the Dallas Fuel, I'm like, yes, shop him, give him to us, yes. Like, that's exactly what I want. I don't want, like, Seagull has done a decent job of filling in on the off tank role because of he's a jack of all trades and a master of none. But I think that Bishu would be a huge upgrade to that team and probably a couple others.
Christiaan, you want to give this a shot?
I don't really buy this one as much, just because I feel like they'll keep the two, Remix and Bishu, just because they need somebody to help them on the bench when, like, especially later on in seasons, when they just need like a fresh blood in the middle of a match to help them out. And that's why I kind of feel like they'll keep both Bishu and Remix and Void, just so they can have some flexibility when it comes with later maps, especially now that we have the map rule and everything. And these require a bit more versatility than I think like Remix and Bishu can give off right at the bat.
Yeah, I'm gonna hard sell this one. I think Bishu brings an incredible energy to the team. He translates Korean. He's bilingual. That's huge, right? Not only that, but I'm pretty sure there's a clip somewhere on Reddit where Fisher says that they're gonna bring in Void to play like Zarya and Hog and other stuff like that. While Bishu can remain as so because like Bishu's other off tanks might not be as good, but his Diva's top tier, right?
Right.
Not only that, but Bishu has great synergy. He's the emotional and energy leader of this team. I don't think you get rid of that. I don't think you can afford to get away with that, because then it's just like that. You've listened to their comms before. Bishu is a confident player. He believes in his team. He believes in himself, and he'll call for the team to go in when it looks like they're losing a fight. And if the team follows him up, they can win those fights. I think that's a special skill that the Gladiators should value highly. So I'm going to sell the trade or the shop.
All right. So
yeah, I think I would also be selling on it for very much those same reasons. Like Bishu just gives you a lot more. The iRemix part, I'm okay with that, because I don't think he's been...
Even then, you keep Remix just because, like, who wants his contract, B, who you have backing up Fisher.
That's fair, but I definitely think you hold on to B by like as much as you can. Like he's one besides Fisher. I think he's probably one of their biggest pieces.
Yep, I put him up there with like Hydration, Asher, and Shaz. I just named half their team, but you know what I mean.
I put him up there with all the other 12.
Yeah, you know.
I'll let Noah go first on this next one. So buy or sell. A Western team will win stage 3.
Sell? Are you kidding me?
In so much as New York is considered a Western team because
sell so hard
because New York is in the West, so they're a Western team, right?
Is London a Western team? Are we considered, even though they're all Koreans and everything?
It's
like, what are we saying is Western?
No, I know what he means is a non-Korean roster.
Is a non-Korean
roster.
All right.
No,
Hell
sell.
No.
You're silly.
Hell no.
Here's why. New York has Libero, who can play everything under the sun. London has 12 players who can play anything. And Seoul
And Seoul doesn't lose in
It's
stage
playoffs.
2 and stage 3.
And Seoul this playoffs will break my goddamn heart. But they're really good too, and they're just gonna ignore the meta shifts, and they're gonna keep playing dive, and it's gonna work for a while.
I'm gonna sell this one just because I'm already picking New York to repeat stage 3. But I am tempted to buy just because of the ridiculous map pool that we have coming in with Blizzard World and Junkertown.
That's true.
And one of the things that I think that we're going to see moving away from the maps that we've been on is I think Houston's going to come back up because I don't think
you need a tracer in Blizzard World. You need a tracer.
Do you? I mean,
yeah, you need a tracer.
Yeah, just to get behind on the top. Like I said,
for everything.
Yeah.
You just need a tracer. Like there's no ifs or buts about it.
I'm still going to stand by my statement that I think that we will see a less tracer dominated enough so that Houston comes out of the dumpster. But
his man bun is coming loose.
Right?
It's whipping me that in the back of the neck, yeah.
But I don't know. We've seen a lot of good stuff from the Western teams over the first 2 stages. Obviously, we saw Philly almost win stage 2 just this past weekend. I'm tempted to buy, but I do sell. Just
I think we're getting close. I think if teams can keep progressing like they did, like as much as they did from stage 1 to stage 2, if they keep doing that in stage 3, maybe by stage 4 we might be able to see a Western team win. Because like you said, Fusion almost did it, but they just didn't have enough. Whereas the Excelsior or like it just seems like the Korean teams right now, they just have more endurance than every other team. So they're just able to outlast teams in these long series. He tilted off the face of the earth, guys.
Hello. Okay, cool. I'm back.
But yeah, for stage 3, definitely have to sell. But I think by stage 4 we might be.
No.
Never. What do you think?
Wrong. It's a callback.
I just want to have faith that we can have a non-Korean team win at some point.
I definitely think, I think that within the first season, we could very much, I would say that there is a greater than 50% chance that
maybe season 3.
No.
Season 3, get the fuck out. No.
I would
not going to take that long.
Season 2, New York is flower! What, you think they're not winning that one?
I would wager an irresponsible, well, okay, I'm not allowed to do that because my wife would kill me.
I was going to say, your wife's going to come bust into the door like, what'd you do?
Yeah.
I'd make a dangerous Lord bet.
I mean, I would. I would almost be willing to bet anything that a Western team would win before season 3.
Win a stage.
That feels like a very safe bet.
Stage or a season.
A stage. I'm saying
a stage.
Oh, a stage.
Yeah, not all season.
No.
Okay, sell still, but like that's a different question.
That's what the question says. It says win
stage
3.
Stage 3.
Okay, yeah, I'm selling that, but I'm saying in terms of like I don't think I was talking when I said a Western team won't win until season 3. I was talking about overall seasons.
Oh, that I agree with. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could very much happen.
Yeah, I think it'll be a while before a Western team can beat Korea in the actual playoffs, like season playoffs.
It'll be interesting for sure.
I mean, there'll be more chances because at most Korea would have 3. I mean, they will have 3 teams in the playoffs, so at least there's 3 other teams instead of 1 other team that can possibly win. But and the hope is maybe depending on how the bracket shakes out, 2 of the Korean teams would have to fight against each other to knock each other out, giving the Western team just having to beat like 1 team.
I mean, I think that'll be pretty likely in all of the playoffs that you will have one of the Korean teams eliminated.
Well, that's true because there's 6 teams, so I'd imagine they'll do like a 1 and 2. So then whoever you imagine the 3rd Korean team wins, they would have to play against one of the other Koreans. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have 2 Korean teams on one division, and I would imagine that it would play out similar to the NFL, where you have to go through like a divisional championship to get through.
Although the playoffs are just top 6 no matter what.
Is it?
Division only gets you a bye or like top 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So the last topic we have of the day would be our stage 3 rankings. So like going into stage 3, where are you ranking these teams at on an individual level? Because we did not do power rankings post stage 2.
So should we start from the bottom and go up?
Yeah, sure. My last place team is the Shanghai Dragons.
Same.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
0 wins.
I think I think this could very much change.
Oh yeah. They have
In
nowhere
a
to
hurry,
go up.
depending on how well those players adapt and the new addition.
You're not going to
adapt.
be able to integrate within a week. Like,
Well, no, but I mean, I think they might
a
like.
lot to
Who,
ask.
who are they
could
playing
get
next?
they could get a first.
Dallas.
I think they play Dallas.
Yeah, so
Oh,
they
have
they
Dallas
get one off
And the Valiant. Oh fuck, we're gonna give them their first.
no.
I already
think Valiant
know.
would give them the first
I
one.
already
think
know
Dallas
they're gonna lose to Dallas, and then the Valiant are gonna give them their first win.
I could see that.
Dalla!
Fuck no! I beat Dallas. I just don't want to be the first. I'll be the second, like we were with the Mayhem, but I don't want to be the first.
And being the
enough,
first
fair
is like
Because
the worst.
in
First is
history,
worst.
in Overwatch League history, we will always be the team that gave the Shanghai Dragons their first win.
You can never, like, that's history.
Like
Yeah.
the team was 0-20 when you faced them, and you
And
gave
then they
them
were
their
1 in
first win.
20.
Yeah.
The 1 in 1 in 20. Like,
Oh,
fucking
God. Or I guess if they lose to the Dallas, they so like
Yeah. We'll see.
Hey?
oh God.
What
Oh,
if the Shanghai
man.
Dragons went out?
I'm gonna need
Oh,
fucking.
God.
I'm gonna need a drink.
Oh. You're gonna need Jesus.
Oh my God.
Is everybody's 11th place team Dallas?
yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
the bottom 3 are going to be very similar.
Sure.
Yep.
It's interesting to me, so because like Dallas
Yep.
feels like an amalgam every time we move
Can
stages.
we move on?
Yep.
They haven't moved. At
They
all.
haven't moved, but I mean, like, I think it is incredibly stupid to ignore player movement and things like that, and saying like, no, this team will never change. Like, think about this, Noah. If Overwatch League lasts 50 years, there will be a season where Seoul Dynasty is bad.
No.
It
I
will.
don't.
No.
I don't know about that.
They're not
I
gonna
think
be.
they
You're
can
wrong.
be
You're
failing.
Law
I
of
don't think they'll be
averages.
bad.
Law of
You're wrong.
averages
You're
dictates
wrong.
that
You're wrong.
There was a
Across
time
50
when the
years.
Patriots
No.
sucked. Like the Patriots will suck.
No.
Like every
No.
team has
No.
its shitty years.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Like look
listening
at the
to that
Lakers.
anymore.
The Lakers.
Everyone's
The
around. I have no idea
Lakers
what
have
you're
had
saying.
multiple
Soul's just
dynasties,
gonna-
and
Soul-
they're
no.
trash.
So my 10th place team then is Houston.
Disagree.
Oh fuck! Did I put? I was gonna say. I was like, I have Houston a little bit.
Going
Valiant.
going into
Stage 3?
Stage 3.
Absolutely, I have Valiant at 10.
Why?
I have Valiant at 9.
Who the fuck's playing for Valiant? Where's their Genji specialist? Where's their hit scan?
His name is
specialist?
Kareev, you asshole.
Yeah, they have a widow. They have a widow one trick who's flexing over to every goddamn position. They haven't solved any of their problems. Their tank core is the only thing that's good about this team, and teams know how to exploit that now.
Sure.
And we don't even know if Unko will be there. We don't even know like who's starting for them.
We don't.
They've
know
just been a
if Hoot's gonna be
disaster,
there
and like
either.
all their subs are like miserable. It is not a good team environment, regardless of what Houston's dealing with. Houston at least is on the same page.
You are depressing me, sir.
That's
Good.
fair. That's a fair look. I still have Houston at 10. I think they put up an unbelievably poor performance this stage. I think that they had one bright spot of beating Seoul there at the
They
end.
beat Seoul. They beat Seoul. They clearly cannot be the 10th worst team. Seoul's the best.
So I disagree, simply because for whatever reason, Seoul is afraid of them, and they really match up poorly against Houston, just like they match up poorly against Dallas. They match up poorly against both these Texas teams. That does not mean that they're good. Like, Houston, both of these teams went out and lost to way worse competition than Seoul.
Hell yeah. What was Houston's final week record? They go 1-1?
1-1, I think.
All right.
Just to be sure.
No, they were 2-0.
Oh, they're 2-0?
Because they beat Shanghai.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's
Yeah.
Shanghai. Okay,
They
3-1.
beat Shanghai and then
Doesn't
beat the Dynasty.
Oh, yeah.
2-0 is a 2-0.
Overall, I believe they finished in 7th in the standings for stage 2, one overtime.
Correct. Yeah. They were 5-5.
But I think I rank Houston so low just because we've seen what they did in stage 1, and we know the level that this team can perform at, and they performed like they were the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah,
That's not. Yeah.
I feel like that's like a
with that.
little. I feel like that's a little bit like much because they weren't that bad, especially because I feel like they ended.
This was a
ended
team
better
that was
too.
victim to the meta and couldn't correct its meta problems. Whereas Dallas was a victim to like, how do you even teamwork? Like how
Like
how do you
they were a victim
play
to like
Overwatch?
how do you Overwatch? Like the fact that they had to be like push, like go means put or whatever it was, where they were.
Vasco came in and immediately improved comms. That's like right there.
So I mean, you're telling me how low the Valiant is. The Valiant 4-0 raffle stomped Houston.
Yeah, but that was early
This
on.
is also
and
a
then
team.
Valiant, but
No,
then
this
Valiant
is not
fell
early
apart.
on. This is week 3.
Valiant fell apart.
Because the Valiant are undercover best team in the league.
I'm standing by my thing, but we.
This is also a team that
really
lost
believe that.
3-1 to the Shock.
Yeah, Shock's higher.
So we'll get into Shock there. But for me, I have Mayhem at number 10. I realize that they are on the way up.
Bruh!
I realize that they're on the way up, but I still think at this moment, like before we seeing anything else in stage 3, I think that they're 10th for me. I have between them and the Valiant, I have Valiant at 9, but it's a very close 9 and 10.
Yeah.
God damn.
What about you, Christian? What do you have at 10?
I have Valley at the 10th.
Yeah, and I think we don't need to talk about the Valiant anymore. We know why you have them
talk
at
about
10.
the Valiant again, and Noah's gonna have a fucking conniption.
Hello?
Uh,
I can't even spell that word, so I don't know.
Anyway,
if I can...
Noah, you said you have Valiant at 10 too.
Oh,
Yeah.
he does. My number 9 team is the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah.
Once again, they have not done enough to dig themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in. We still have yet to see any of the new additions, but they look a lot better. Their final record for stage 2, I think, was 3-7. I think that they will look a lot better by the end of stage 3, but going into stage 3, I have a hard time putting them, above the 9th position, despite what they were able to accomplish late in the stage.
Agree. What about you, Noah?
For number 9?
Yeah.
I put Houston at number 9. Because it's an unfortunate matter for them, but it was reflective of that. They didn't really know how to solve their own problems until late in the season when they kind of decided to ignore the meta, and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
kind of worked. That's
Not
right.
not reflective of a good team, but like they're not bottom 3.
Yeah.
I expect stage 3 to go much better for them.
Okay. And then moving on to number 8, I have the Outlaws at 8. Like I said, I feel like because they ended the season with that win against Shanghai, Shanghai too, but because they ended with the win against the Dynasty, which was a 3-1 win, I just feel like that was. I realized that they had a pretty terrible stage overall, but that gave me hope that the team is at least kind of getting back on track towards what we've seen in stage 1. So with some time to practice between stage 2 and 3, and with the meta not really shifting that much, I know like Somber will see a little bit more play, but she's already been in OWL pretty heavily. So I don't think that it's not going to be as big of a meta shift as we saw from stage 1 to stage 2. So I think they are on the track to kind of get themselves back together. So that's why I've got them at 8. They're not, I don't think they're close to where they were at the end of stage 1, where they were the 3rd best team, but they're getting close.
For number 8,
Yeah.
I have the San Francisco Shock.
Okay.
They have massive. Sinatra is here. He is a massive upgrade to their Tracer role. Dante is amazing, but he is still a massive upgrade. That being said, they haven't fixed their core problems.
I have the San Francisco Shock at number 8 for the exact same reasons, though I do think they will be fixing some of those issues with the talent upgrade with Super coming in, getting rid of Nomi.
Yep.
And then we'll just kind of have to wait and see how they look from there.
Yeah, I'd shock at 8-2, just because this is, I think by the end of stage 3, they'll be much, much higher. But it's also like, this was a team, even going to stage 1, we all knew was banking on the long term.
Yep.
And now it's finally like starting to pay off for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, so for 7, I actually have the shock at number 7, just because I feel like they've got a little bit of an upside.
What's this NorCal love?
I know. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate NorCal. Literally the bane, even worse than the Gladiators. At least the Gladiators are from SoCal. But NorCal, bane of my existence. So it pains me to put them there. But
There's
I feel like
good about NorCal to Wyatt.
that's my trigger. NorCal is one of my huge triggers. But just with the addition of Sinatra in the last week of the season, plus you're adding in Super now. And like we've said, Super is almost even a bigger addition than Sinatra was, as big as Sinatra is. It feels like the Shocker in a good spot, especially because they haven't done terrible. I mean, yeah, they're still in 9th place, 6-14, but there's an outside chance. They're 6 games back from the playoffs. If they can do really, really well in stages 3 and 4, they might make the playoffs. It'll be an uphill battle for sure, but I feel like they've got enough upside that I can feel at least a little bit okay putting them in.
Yep. What number
is
7?
Yes.
I got Boston at number 7.
Okay.
It's an extremely meta-dependent team. They cannot play without Gamsu. If they have Gamsu, they look way better. It's bang.
Okay.
This is where I put the Los Angeles Valiant here at number 7.
That's why you put Los Angeles? It's number 7? You cut out for a second.
Yeah, I put the Valiant at number 7.
Hey, Travis, the homeboy. There we go.
So
wait, the Valiant? Okay, whatever.
There's no. He's about to cut out again, guys.
So
he's going to close the Discord.
I put the Valiant at number 7. Mostly because they were still able to eke out wins when they needed to against decent teams. I think that what the Valiant are experiencing is definitely not a talent or a skill or a teamwork issue, but rather org issue, similar to kind of how Dallas was in stage 1, where we don't necessarily know what's going on from the outside. But I definitely feel that there's some management problems happening with the Valiant, because we saw this team trying to break into playoffs in stage 1, and then now here we are at stage 2, where they finished 8th overall in the standings. So it's not like the Valiant players suddenly forgot how to play Overwatch. Which to me, that definitely lends credence to it being a management issue rather than a player issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Christian, what do you got at 7?
I put Outlaws at 7, just because I feel like their failure to really adapt to the meta this season was it's pretty questionable, especially when they were so high stage 1. It just seems weird to me. You can adapt to just not playing Mercy as much. I don't know. And I think they'll start to slowly fix these problems, but it's just not. I lost a lot of confidence in them. I was pretty high on them in stage 1, but after stage 2, I've just lost faith, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bang.
And then going into number 6, I've got Uprising here. Much like Noah said, Gamsu's back. They look really good. I think if you'd asked me this question 3 weeks ago, I would have put them much lower, way lower. But once Gamsu came back, they looked like they did in stage 1. So they finished the stage pretty strong. They picked up a big win against the Gladiators in that final week, which was big because the Gladiators playoffs. So the fact that Boston wasn't playing for anything. They were just playing for overall standings, game-wise and everything. But the fact that the Gladiators needed to win to make the playoffs, and Boston won that series. I think that shows a lot about that team and how they've grown in stage 3. So I think they're in a pretty good spot, I think, going into stage 3.
All right. Y'all want to go?
I have Boston at number 6 too. Mostly for the same reasons. They're always like a late stage team, I guess we'll call them. But they always like playing spoiler. Seems like that's the only time when they start to show up is like when they can spoil somebody's day. But outside of that, they don't look too hot.
That's true. Yeah, I also have the Uprising here. I think it's a decent spot for them. They kind of climbed up a little higher, and I think this is actually where they sit. Yeah, in the stage 2 final standings is at on number 6. They were able to eke out a couple of games without Gamsu. Otherwise, they looked really, really bad. I think this team definitely needs Gamsu and Striker in the lineup at all times to succeed. And I'm a little interested to see how they adapt to the new map pool. But again, the meta hasn't really shifted that hard. So we'll have to, again, Boston is kind of one of those wait and see teams, very similar to the San Francisco shop, where I couldn't really tell you how I think they'll do in stage 3.
All right. I got the Mayhem at number.
Holy shit!
Wow.
All right. Damn.
Oh no, number 7. Yeah, I got the Mayhem.
This is number 6.
We're at 6 now.
We have moved on to number 6.
Hello? Am I dumb?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, you guys skip me. So real quick, Mayhem. Saya players.
I thought you went at number 7. My bad.
No, y'all just skip me. I wasn't paying attention or something. Saya players coming. This team is way better than you guys think, and they're making leaps and bounds. Their new coach is awesome.
Is
Number
Saya
6,
player
I've got
coming in?
Boston.
I know. I was gonna say. I was like, do we know the Sire player?
Actually, no, never mind. I lied. Florida's number 6 for all the reasons I said, and I'm gonna start with number 5, LAG. Gladiators are good, but they're like just below the cusp of being like a top 3 team.
I agree. I have Gladiators at number 5 as well.
As do I. For those same reasons, we'll see how this pans out with the addition of Void. I'd be overly thrilled to see it end up being like a kind of like Fissure Part 2. And even though you guys kind of sold on the possibility of a Bishu trade, I would love to see them trade him for a DPS to replace Surefour that is of the same caliber of player that Bishu is. I think I'm fair to
I think you need other. I don't think Bishu is the measuring stick here, but I agree with what you're saying.
Last time,
Christian,
Gladiators
did
at 5.
you for 5?
Yeah, I think we're all unanimous there.
Yep.
Okay. So, and then number 4, you gotta go with the Dynasty, just because they are perpetually seem to just be one step behind when it comes to the last couple of weeks. They like this team can be the best team on any given night, and they could easily win. Not easily, but they have a strong case to beat any single team in this league. But for whatever reason, they just seem to continue to slip up when it comes to the late stages. They start off super strong, look really good, and then when it comes down to it, they just drop these weird, because like in stage 1 they got swept by the Valiant in the last week, and then now in stage 2 they lost 3-1 to the Outlaws, who I think the Outlaws look even like, because in stage 1 the Valiant actually looked pretty good in that last week too, whereas like the Outlaws have been pretty bad all stage. So like I feel like that's an even worse loss than their loss to the Valiant was in stage 1. So this team, I want to see what I keep hearing about Lunatic High and all this shit, but like I have not seen it yet. I want to, but I just haven't seen it yet.
You're just hearing it from Noah, just Noah.
That's fair. He's just very loud. Like I hear it every single week. Let me tell you something about Lunatic.
It doesn't count if he doesn't mention Apex.
That's true. That's true. He has to mention,
Back in my day, Apex, I got it. I also have Soul at number 4.
At least you're not delusional. There we go.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I also have Soul at number 4.
Unanimous then, I guess.
they are the only all-Korean roster that seems to be masters of choking right now. Just like, let's see, Boston seems to be the master of the upset. But yeah, until Seoul can get over that hump, I mean, it's not like they're gonna drop out of top 5 ever this season. But
I almost put them at 5. I almost
for some reason, Seoul just,
no, it's gonna be the dead eye.
Snaps out of my reverie.
For some reason, Seoul just can't seem to get the job done when they need to.
Yeah.
There's always a problem. It's like, okay, cool. Their supports are top 2, I think, at this point. Top 3, top 2. I'm willing to say top 2. Ryu Jae Hong is back to his form of like God mode, but like, you know.
Yeah.
For number
okay. 3. You got number 4, Christiaan.
I thought we just did number 4.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
number 3.
Unanimous. Yeah. For number 3, I put London Spitfire.
Okay.
I mean, they've been pretty good all season, but I've been more impressed by Fusion and their growth across the season, and that's kind of why I put London a little lower. Well, not a little lower, a rank lower. Just when I look at Philly, I kind of see, I guess, more potential. And London's always been a fairly consistent team. They never really dropped out of like 3rd or 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I look at somebody like Harpe, I'm kind of like imagining he's somebody that could probably break into like a rank 1 if New York were ever to drop out of that rank for me, which would be never.
Oh yeah. I think our
Noah,
top
do you want to go?
The same, right? Our top 3 is all the same.
Probably, yeah.
Number 1.
Mine isn't actually.
Number 1, New York. Number 2, London. Number 3, Philly. Philly improved by leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Well, Christiaan had Spitfire at 3, so as well as mine is different from his.
I think London are just incredibly inconsistent. They had just as much a chance to completely lose Stage 2 finals as they did win it all. You know, they're literally Jekyll and Hyde. You do not know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, like I put.
Once they find that consistent, because like when they pop off, they pop hard, and once they find consistency, it's over. But
yeah, like for my number 3, I had the Fusion just because like I know, they ended up as the 2nd best team in Stage 2, just by virtue of results. But I still think going forward, I don't know if I would bet on Fusion every single time, whereas I'd be more bet on the Spitfire just because I just feel like London has a stronger track record. And that could very well change if the Fusion continue to do this. But I think at this point in time, especially the fact that they got reverse swept in the finals too. I kind of
swept.
Huh?
Did they?
Fusion
reverse sweep. Okay, in the finals.
In the finals.
Talking about London.
No. I'm talking about against New York. Like the fact that the Fusion went up 2-0 and then lost 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
Like that is, I feel like that is not that that's more indicative of where the team is at. I just think that's just in my book, that's another knock to why they're not yet in that top 2 territory.
Right.
Sure. I mean, it does suck, and it's kind of an indictment of a team to not be able to close out a game that you're in such a commanding lead, especially over the course of 3 games. And I have Philly at number 3, mostly because we saw them win a rough one against London after getting swept not too long ago by the Spitfire in the regular games throughout the stage. And so I think Philly has a little bit more growing to do. I think they can definitely remain a dangerous team. But that's the only reason I have them below London, is just because London just stomped the hell out of Philadelphia when they were starting to look strong. And then Philadelphia just barely squeaked by and then weren't able to close out the win against New York Excelsior. And I think we would be having a much different conversation if that had happened.
Yeah. If Philadelphia was able to hold strong and win that series, I still think I would put Excelsior at number 1 just because I think overall they're a stronger team, but I would have bumped up the Fusion over the Spitfire. And then obviously I think we all have Excelsior as number 1. Can't really knock the fact they won Stage 2, and the fact that they just much like London in stage 1, like reverse sweeping is something that I think takes a special type of psyche to be down, like to be on the brink of elimination and then win 3 games in a row in pretty convincing fashion. I don't actually. I was asleep during the stage 1 finals because I knew that day, so I don't really remember looking at highlights like how strong their wins were or not. But I know New York's like their 3 wins were very strong and pretty.
It was a
convincing.
great series. If you have a chance, go back and rewatch it.
But
Okay.
London and New York was like one of the best ones.
Both of the
It's
stage
not the
finals have
best
been
one.
insane.
Yeah. So I think the fact that New York like was able to not only kind of come back from that 2-0 in the finals this time, but to like shake off the demons of their own reverse sweep loss in stage 1, to just kind of use that as fuel to win. I think that was a pretty big show of their mental state and just kind of how strong they are as a team.
I think it's bigger just because you talk about a reverse sweep, and most people associate the word sweep with like a complete and utter stomp of a team, just because that's usually what.
But then the word reverse means the opposite of that happens.
Well, okay, so like in a reverse sweep, like especially for the Excelsior here, it wasn't just that, oh, New York woke up and then they blew Philly out of the water, because that definitely wasn't the case. Like New York had to work consistently throughout those 3 games, knowing that every single time they were consistently on the verge of elimination.
Yeah.
Philly had them on the ropes and like watch point. It was pretty close there for a bit.
Yep.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah, until like things turned up again. But for a bit there, it was really scary.
Yeah. So, but I think overall, like stage 2, again, it was another stage for Overwatch. Like, amidst all of the some of the issues that we were seeing with the code of conduct and kind of a lot of the controversy that was surrounding, I think all things considered, which, I realized we got through this whole show and we didn't really mention, but the code of conduct, all of it was leaked this week. Richard Lewis got his hands on the entire thing and put it up on his website. So we were able to read through a lot of that. You can find that on your own. I don't really think we need to dive super deep into it here on the podcast. But I'm sure it'll come up again because it always seems to come up. But it is out there, so if you want to check it out, definitely do that. But I think that's going to do it for us, unless you guys have anything else to talk about there.
Are we changing podcast times? That would be an important.
Oh yeah. So next week we will be moving to Tuesdays. I think we'll be a little bit later. Definitely keep track of our Twitter. We will announce that, but it will be Tuesdays around the same time. I think we might be starting the entire block at 3 or at 6 p.m. Eastern instead of 5. But definitely take a look at our Twitter, and we'll be announcing that. But everything else will stay the same, and that'll give us a little bit more time to talk, so we don't have to worry about getting off right when Overwatch League starts. But I think that's going to do it for us. So we'll see you guys next week, and have a good one.
All right. Peace out, y'all.
All right.